my name is Mike Tellerino, CEO and founder of K9 for Veterans. We're here tonight with Joe Camperda and Fidel Godinez, if I'm saying that right.
That is correct.
And I apologize if I haven't. We're here today to talk about buying a home for a veteran for the first time, what the pitfalls are, what the ups and downs, I guess. Joe, why don't you start out first and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Joe Camperda. I'm from Home Smart Realty Group out of Orland Park. I have over 20 years of experience. Been licensed for over 17. Former GC. What else you got for me?
Well, that's good. Okay, Fidel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Work for Compass Mortgage. I'm a loan officer. I've been doing it for about 20 years, and my job is to help people get approved for home loans.
Okay. How long have you been with Compass?
Been with Compass for a relatively short period of time, about 3 months.
Compass did a video about K9 for Veterans, wasn't it?
They did.
Tell us a little bit about that real quick.
Well, we went over to the facility and just took a look at how you're training the dogs over there. And I'll tell you, everybody that was introduced to your organization was ecstatic.
What did they use that video for? I guess that was for people you should know?
To build awareness for your
Okay.
Organization.
charity, yeah.
Fidel, why don't you tell us what a loan officer does? What's your duties as a loan officer and your responsibilities to the people that are coming to you for a loan?
Well, my primary duties are to assess folks, their qualifications for a home loan, to find out if they're ready to buy. If they're not, what I do that I've done for years is basically hold their hands, teach them what they need to do to get qualified so that they can become home buyers. Aside from that, I have to assess all the different programs that are available and determine which one's best for them. Exactly.
As a veteran who going through the process of buying a home for the first time, when they contact you, should they have anything prepared for you? Should they bring anything with them when they come to apply for that loan to get pre-qualified? Is there anything that'll help them, shorten that process?
Basically, most of the time, it's a 15, 20-minute conversation with me, and I'm just looking for basic information regarding their income, their assets, what they're looking to buy, if they've had any credit challenges, and from there, I can run the credit, I can put in their income, I can run a scenario to find out where they're at, what they can afford.
Do you pre-qualify them then for what they could afford? So,
Right.
I'm sorry, if a guy's looking for a home, a $250,000 home, and you run his credit, you do the pre-qualifications, and he can only afford a home for $170,000. What do you do then? What do you just tell them that?
Well, I mean, they have options. They won't get approved for $250 if the system doesn't allow it. And unlike before the bubble, where you can buy a home that you couldn't afford, you're pretty much secured that you can. If somebody, however, would give me information that was not going to be on the application that I knew would impact their ability to pay at a later time, then I would certainly advise them against purchasing a home that was a little bit too expensive.
All right. I want to read this. It says, one of the most significant benefits earned by serving in the military is the VA home loan. Housing-related services. As of 2016, only 6%, and I find that amazing, that only 6% of veterans have used their VA home benefits. Why? If they have this out there and the military, the VA is ready to give them this money to buy their home, why aren't we using it? Why aren't the veterans using this?
I think for the same reason the general population, much of the general population doesn't take advantage of home ownership. Because they don't have the proper guidance. They don't have the proper direction. They think it's too difficult.
Do they go to a real estate agent for that, or do they go to a financial institution like yours?
They would go to an institution like mine.
So they would start out.
Right.
So if I'm a first-time home buyer and I decided, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take care of this, and I'm going to buy this home, the first place to go is to a company like yours, Compass Mortgage, and say, I'm interested in buying a home.
Right. And then I would assess all the information, and if they couldn't qualify because of other factors other than income, for instance, maybe they had credit challenges, then I would show them, I can't act as a credit advisor because I'm not a certified credit advisor, but I
Right.
can give them basic information and I can put them in touch with somebody that I trust to help them repair their credit.
Right.
And that person has over 30 years of experience.
A lot of experience, and I'll tell you, there's only one. And it's not that I'm not a person that don't trust a whole lot of people. It's just I want to know that where I'm sending you, you're going to be taken care of. And I'll tell you that anybody that's ever followed my direction has been able to buy a home. The problem is some of them don't take that direction and then they can't. But the important thing for somebody that wants to buy a home, the most important thing is to understand the process. And then the intimidation goes away.
Yeah, because somebody who doesn't know, I'm sure they have 1,000 questions about, you know, how do I do this?
A lot of
How do I do
question
that?
marks.
So if you don't go to a reputable company that's going to give you the right answers and the right recommendations for what you're trying to do, you can be in trouble.
Guidance
Yeah.
is number one key. Yeah, if you have somebody to guide you that has that experience.
So then, in other words, so they'd reach out to your company first and say, hey, I want to buy a home. Then, of course, they would contact Joe and say, Joe, I'm looking to buy a home. This is my price range, because they already know what they qualified for. You start showing them homes.
And I send them a list according to their price and payment plan, and till we find the right one. I'm not a car salesman, so I don't push.
Well, let
I'm
me
a
ask you a
patient.
question. If one of our veterans found a home that was $200,000 and they said, oh, God, I'm in love with this home, I gotta have it. You, as being a real estate agent, been in this business for how long? You know if there's gonna be some issues with this house. Are you gonna tell them?
Oh, definitely, definitely. That's one of the first things I disclose, honesty. And transparency, that's for me, that's number one key. Especially myself being in construction, fixing and flipping properties, excuse me, I have an idea of the roof, of the gutters, soffit, the foundation, if there's any cracks, mold, I disclose all of that. Now, if I see all positive pros, I disclose that as
All
well.
right, so you tell them it's a good, you think it's a
So
good
you,
deal.
you get both. Why not, right? Before you hire a home inspector, I can point out most of the things in the house, you know?
Now, on a VA loan, does the home, what's the process for the VA loan? They have to have an appraisal, a home inspection, what else?
Typically, an appraisal and a termite inspection.
Termite is the,
So
Right.
those two things
Right.
are definite.
Right, and these standards change all the time. So, always got to go back to the guidelines. Remember, because we have so many different programs out there, but basically that's it. I know that VA has a much higher standard than the typical conventional loan, conventional being
Why?
the walk-in bank. They want to make sure that the property is suitable. It's a fair property. It's in good condition.
That's it.
moving condition.
Yeah,
So that the purchaser won't have any problems when he's moved in and
right,
the roof falls in on him.
right,
Exactly.
right. Or they
Or plumbing issues.
Right.
Yeah. What are the basic requirements from the VA for a veteran to come in and say, hey, I want to apply for this loan? Is there a minimum down payment, a minimum credit score? What are the requirements the VA has that, you know, are out there for them?
It depends on the institution that they go to. Some can get a VA loan with a score as low as 550. But they have what they call in this industry overlays, which means if VA says you got to have a 550 credit score, but ABC Bank says, well, now you got to have a 620. Now they have to have a 620 credit score, right? So they got to have a certain credit score. They have to have a certain income, verifiable income. They have to have served under the parameters of whatever branch they were in. And then we get a certificate of eligibility. And
We also talked about a veteran comes out and he doesn't have the full down payment, and he gets it as a gift from a family member. Is that acceptable?
it is
I know
acceptable.
they do that
but-
with conventional loans.
It is acceptable, but not necessary, because on a VA purchase, you don't need a down payment.
You don't need
It's
a down
100%
payment.
financing.
So they will. So if I find a house for $200,000, I don't have to put that 3.5% that
No,
a
sir.
conventional bank would want. They're going to say just finance the whole 200,000. Ouch.
You keep that money for reserves.
Right.
The furniture, right?
Reserves.
Yeah.
You want to protect yourself.
That's amazing. Why should a veteran want to purchase a house in the first place? I mean,
Why not? It is the American dream, right?
yes, the American dream is
Yeah.
right, but what gives them the incentive to buy a house today?
Well, being a homeowner, it's pride of ownership. Plus, in the future, if you have something comes up, and you need some money, like, then you have option,
Some equity?
equity in the house, and, do a refi, take some money out from your property. Hopefully that day never comes, but you never know.
What are some of the big advantages of using a VA loan as opposed to a conventional bank loan?
Let me answer that in 1 minute. Speaking to that, you can actually get 100% cash out refinance on a VA loan.
Really?
Yes.
So if you owe $150,000 on your home and,
It's worth $200,000.
yeah,
You can get a $200,000 loan.
wow,
Pay off the first loan and $50,000 less whatever closing costs are.
really?
Back
That's
to you.
good.
Right.
It's real good. Huh. What's the best option for a veteran when he's looking for a loan? I mean, is it the VA? Is it a conventional? How do they decide what's the best?
Well, VA is hands down one of the best mortgage products out
So
there.
that should be their first choice?
Not always.
That's what I mean.
Not always, not always. If you're purchasing a home, yes, absolutely. If you're trying to cash out maximum because you have other expenditures that you're trying to take care of, yes. But if you're simply trying to do a refinance to lower your payment, then you have to see whether or not you're going to be exempt from what they call the VA funding fee. So VA funding fee on refinances that's over 3%. So if your loan is $200,000, that's $6,000. Right. So if you're not in purchasing a home, you're just simply refinancing, then you probably just want to go with a conventional loan where you don't have that VA funding fee.
Right.
Right. So it's not
Tell-
always the best option.
Tell us about the tax breaks that, I know veterans that are on a disability from the VA and they're receiving a pension. Tax purposes, take us through that. How does that work? I know if you're a certain percentage disabled, that your taxes are exempt from paying taxes.
Exactly. So it's step ladder. The amount of disability that you are associated with is going to determine how much taxes you have to pay, or if you have to pay any at all. I
Really?
believe if you're 70% disabled, you're
That's what I
exempt from
think it is,
property
yeah.
taxes.
So at 70%, you wouldn't pay any taxes.
I believe, yes.
Okay. It's good to know. Selling a house. Veteran owns a house. He's looking to sell his house. Take us through the process.
It's like any other process.
Call a real estate agent.
Call me, you get a, actual appraisal. What I do is called CMA. What you do is take the property and look for something that's sold within half a mile within 6 months, apples to apples, and then we'll figure out what the price is, market it, and that's it.
So who pays for the appraisal?
Well, I do it myself.
You
Yeah,
do it yourself?
I have a lot of vast experience in that.
Okay.
I took some courses, so I do exact appraisal that the bank would send out appraiser. What they're looking for is last 6 months and same amount of bedrooms, bathrooms, apples to apples. So that's what they're looking for.
Well, it sounds like it's a pretty simple process, but sounds also like there's not a lot of veterans taking advantage of it.
I think the main reason is the same reason why a lot of people don't do things in life that they really want to do. And that's fear of not being able to. And if
The unknown.
the unknown, or fear of failure. And if I can give you a personal analogy, for me, I dropped out of school when I was 14 years old. And I always wanted to go back to school. But I didn't go back to school until I was 30 years old. And the only reason I did was because this student from Northern Illinois University, her name was Jolene, she was coming to work summers at the factory that I worked at. And she kept saying, Fidel, you should go to college. And I was like, Jolene, I got 1 credit in high school. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But she kept at me and she kept at me and she kept at me, and finally I went to take the GED placement test. And after I took the test, I'll tell you that I felt even worse because I was the second to last person to leave the auditorium, which there was somewhere between 250 and 300 people, right? So I go back the next week to find out how I did, and I found out that out of 267 people, I got the highest score.
Good for you.
So everything changed, right? So I ended up a triple major, earning scholarships, studying in Barcelona, Spain, right? But I would have never did it if it wasn't for Jolene.
God bless.
I would have never did it if I didn't have somebody to give me the belief in myself.
Going back to
So-
the right guidance.
To answer the question, it's because many of them don't have the proper guidance. And if they allow me to, I'd be happy to pay it forward and give them the
So you sit down, talk to them, explain to
Absolutely.
them the do's, the don'ts,
Everything.
the pitfalls, whatever they need to know, you would do that for them.
Absolutely.
Let them know if it's a good time to buy, or if it's not, they should wait, whatever.
Sure. And then exactly what they have to do.
Okay, now, we've had meetings before the show tonight. You've been involved with K9 for a while now. You found out that we were having a service dog dedication, and you jumped at the chance to be the sole sponsor of that event. Tell us why. Tell me why. I mean, why are you guys so into the veteran organizations? And because you guys are. I mean, you truly are. I mean, this is coming from your heart.
Well, going back to Poland, I left communist Poland at age of 12, and I learned about our history. And we got our freedom in 1918. We were on the map for 123 years, and it was all thanks to our veterans for our freedom. And that same thing translated here. When I came here to the States, one of my first neighbors was a veteran, a Vietnam veteran, and I seen him walking by our place many times, different times of the day. I just seen him walking with a military vest, and I asked the landlady, "Who is this guy? Why is he walking so much?" And she tells me he came back from Vietnam with the PTSD. I'm like, "Oh wow," and then I'm like, "Is there something I can always do?" And that's why I jumped. When I had the opportunity, I jumped on it. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's an amazing story.
Yeah.
You guys really take this to the personal level, and I think that's why we have such a relationship with K9 and what you do for us. It's truly something you guys believe in. You were just out at the fire departments and police departments, and so first responders to you are just as important.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they're on the front line just like our veterans are.
Definitely.
So, I mean, that's really great what you guys are doing.
I mean, it's unbelievable how much this country, how many liberties and privileges gives you. So why not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, we just did a show the other night about homeless veterans and how that should never happen. I believe that every veteran should own a home.
Exactly.
Should have that right to own a home. For the sacrifices they've made.
Keep our borders safe, yeah.
Keep our borders safe, keep our family safe. They put their life on hold to go serve for 2
community,
years, 4 years.
citizens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and when they come back, I think, like Joe said, they should be given a home.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon.
No.
And to add to what you said, they serve 2 or 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
I would say they serve a lifetime. Because that experience
Oh my God. Yeah.
doesn't
forever.
go away.
No, not at all. That's why so many guys come home with PTSD, and and it's the old, that it's just not the same for them anymore. So, is there any certification a real estate agent should have in order to serve VA loans?
Any professional should be able to handle this transaction.
But you have a special certification.
Correct. I have attended, that was a life-changing moment for me. I got invited to an event in March of this year. There was a veteran dedication as well at the end. The veteran showed up for the event, did not know what he will be receiving. Showed up with his daughter, and at the end, the lady came out with a service dog, and He didn't even wait. He just ran towards the dog, picked up the dog, then dropped the dog, ran back to his daughter, picked up the daughter, then both of them. I had tears in my eyes, and at that moment, I knew, this is it. This is it. I got to do something. And then I started doing my research and
Right.
found your organization.
Yeah, well, I'm
And-
glad you did.
Yeah.
It's been a great partnership. Fidel, let me ask you a question. What should our veterans be aware of when they go to for a loan? I mean, you hear a lot of scams, a lot of things that they should be aware of out there. What would the biggest one be? What are the...
You know, I like to think that most people in my profession are honest, and I would say they are, especially
Oh,
after
no,
that
I'm not
change.
saying they're not, believe me,
Right.
but what are some of the pitfalls that are...
If they go to somebody that lacks the proper experience, they may put them into a VA loan, even though a conventional loan may be better, right?
It's all about the guidance again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think we really need to pursue this with our veterans. I think what they did with Illinois taxes when they gave them a percentage off based on their disability was one of the best things they could have done for our veterans.
Need to take advantage
You
of
know.
that.
Absolutely.
And again, you are with Compass Mortgage, Smart Home,
Home Smart.
sorry,
3 locations.
3 locations. So you're located in what office?
Right now currently out of the Burr Ridge office,
Burr Ridge.
but I'm pretty much mobile. Starbucks is my office if I wanted to be.
So is mine.
That's a good,
Yeah, I'm a road warrior.
that's a good office.
We work anywhere in the
You know,
city. Yeah.
I'd like to add tonight that we are having a service dog dedication out in Lockport at the American Legion Post, 152nd and Archer. Joe and Fidel were kind enough to sponsor the entire dedication. Come out, and it's an event you won't want to miss. You'll be able to talk to these 2 gentlemen in person. They'll be there to answer any questions you have. So make it a point to come out and see what you can do to help our veterans. Believe me, it's truly an amazing event. You won't want to miss it. It's an event for the entire family. We are presenting the service dogs to the veterans that night, and they get to take them home. So come on out, meet Joe, meet Fidel, and just,
Come
enjoy
out,
an evening with the
enjoy the
veterans.
raffle. There's
Enjoy-
many baskets.
There's a lot of baskets.
Yeah.
And we're also,
There's open bar, correct?
Yeah,
Open bar
yeah.
music, yeah.
It'll be a fun evening. So anyway, I just want to thank both of you guys. Any closing comments you'd like to say? We only have about a minute left.
For any veterans out there, thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Very good comment,
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it every day.
and as we should. Thank you, and we'll be here the first and second Thursday of every month, and just watch for our next show. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.